Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Life Inner Show. I'm your host, Jason Wojo. On the Life Inner Show, we help people make more, work less, and love their incredible life. I am joined by my co-host, Polish Peter.
And I will add to that, live life with passion.
That's crazy amounts of passion.
Super duper huge P in there. And that's what we're going to have talk about on this particular podcast. The couple that we'll bring for you today talk about passion. I mean, it is amazing to just hear them talk about what they have done in their life, their story, and how they actually impact people around them and how God is blessing them in every single area of your life. One of the coolest things that I remember as we were talking on this particular episode is the abundance mindset. So I really want you to guys look into that. Later on in the episode, he talks about the abundance mindset, and the way he describes it, it's very unique, very cool, and I love how he talks about that particular area.
Yeah, dude, and that's just one of the awesome nuggets that we discussed in this episode. You're gonna love it. This is our interview with Katie Marie and David Hughes. Let's go to the interview right now. Katie Marie and David, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. We're excited to be here.
Yes.
You guys are awesome. Peter, I didn't have a chance to meet Katie Marie in person yet, but I met David in person. I was down in Sarasota, Florida, spoke at a group down there. And we started talking. We realized we had a lot of mutual benefits, some overlap in our beliefs, and in a lot of ways we look at things. I'm like, we have to. And then I had the privilege of meeting his wife, Katie Marie, and I'm like, we need to get these guys on the show. You guys are awesome, and I love what you do, man. So give our audience a brief introduction to like who you are and what you're up to.
Yes, absolutely. And so we've got baby on board. So it's a reality show, right? We're here on the podcast.
Awesome. This might be the first baby on Life in our show.
That's right.
Okay, he's making history already. Gabriel the Great, we call him.
Love it.
I love the name.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, he's happy. Say, hey, everybody, you're on TV. Podcast. So we're here. David B. Hughes, Katie Marie, and Gabriel. We're here in Sarasota, Florida. And if you want to put him down, baby, we can go ahead into the intro. But so, a little bit about us. Like you were saying, Jason, we recently connected because when you shared your message, I was like, man, we got to connect up with this guy and what you guys are doing. We just absolutely love what you all are doing at Life in Air. So thanks for having us on your platform and so we can share anything of value that we have to share with your audience here. But for us, in a nutshell, we just love life. We love living life to the fullest. So when I saw that, I'm like, man, we're Life in Airs. Like, that's cool. I never knew that, but this is your message is something we've preached and lived for years. And really we're passionate about living life fully, freely, abundantly, the way that we were designed and intended to live, right? We were created in the image of a limitless God to live a limitless life. Yet most people live limited lives unnecessarily. And just as you all talk about all the time. And so for me, growing up, I had an amazing family. I'm the oldest of three and grew up in a faith-filled home that I learned, personal relationship with God. And that's everything for us, whether it's our marriage, our businesses, and all the different fruit and blessings in our life. We give God all the glory for it. And so, but the thing was, like, growing up in that loving family that had faith in God and all that was great. But in the area of finances, it was really bad. My dad battled depression on and off through the years. He actually ended up taking his life in 2008. My sister was 11 at the time. I was 27. But I remember growing up and I made a decision early on. And the decision was that I don't want to be in this place someday with my future spouse and family, right? To where there was stress, strain, struggle, lack around the area of finances. And so I had no idea, how or what the vehicle is going to be, right? To get me to that place. I just knew that people lived on the other side of money. So my decision was I'm going to live on the other side of money. Where money works for me, I do not work for money. I had no idea how that was going to happen. And there was no one in sight where I could see that modeled, and no one in my, family tree anywhere or extended family that was living life full time. But I think that's one of the first points of our message and the takeaway for people that hear this, that your podcast is to know that you're one decision away from a radically different life and reality. And everything always starts with a decision. And that decision is what led to that happening quickly in my life. And so the action, of course, was seeking out mentors, putting myself around the people who had what I wanted, who had the lifestyle of total time freedom, living life fully in their passion and abundantly. And so because I did that, I just simply chose to be coachable and teachable and position myself, find the mentors, invest whatever time, money necessary to get access, hitch my wagon to those people who were at where I wanted to be, who were going where I wanted to go, and just do what they told me to do. And so that quickly set me free, forever financially free in my 20s. And so the natural progression of that was, I was, of course, first passionate to be free myself, right? It's like, how can you help somebody else be free if you're not free yourself? So, and this was before we met. And so then it just turned into wanting to help as many other people, right? Like, look, I found the keys, the vehicle, the process, the path, the steps, and so that's what we've been doing for years now, helping people just get truly unlocked and unleashed to live life full time, through the power of real estate, is what we leveraged. And so when we met, it was amazing because total God thing, by the way. And let me just throw this out on the front end on the story here. So after waiting our whole lives, I was 33 when we met, and I was wondering for years, God, where's my wife? You forget about somebody here. Like and then, but, when my dad took his life, I took my mom, my 11-year-old sister in with me, and had them there with me. Fast forward about 6.5 years later, the week my sister was graduating high school, God supernaturally drops Katie Marie into my life that very week. And he basically told me, well done, son, on that mission. Bam, here's your reward, exceedingly abundantly above everything you've ever asked for, dreamed for. And I tell people, she is not my dream girl. Straight up, I'll tell she is not my dream girl. She is my so far beyond all my dreams girl. But that's what God does when we really go all in with him. He shows all out through our lives in every area of our lives, our businesses, our marriage, and everything we do, because we were created in his image to display him to the world. And so what happened was we committed our lives to each other the 5th night on the phone. We decided to get married, hadn't seen each other. No FaceTime, hadn't seen each other. 5 days of phone calls that night, committed our lives to get married. Okay, we're just getting warmed up. This isn't even the climax. So proposed to her 40 minutes after meeting her in person for the first time ever. Married 19 days later, 19 days after meeting in person for the first time ever. It's been the most amazing heaven on earth. We've been married 6.5 years. You all just met our little baby. She home birthed. I'm here at her house, 25-hour, all natural, no pain medication, labor, birth, amazing. So, and all this is relevant, right, to the message where we're going today, and where we're getting at is it's because people, anybody can just share a message of good principles and processes, but who's the person behind it and what's the story? And that's what people need to know. We feel like is like, no matter who you are or where you're at or where you want to go, like you can get there quicker than you ever knew you could or realize if you just know a few simple things, and just even sometimes just one right person, one connection. And so when we met, I was already living life full time because of real estate, right? The residual income. And so when we got married, and I'll let Katie Marie share a little bit about her as well, but it was just awesome how God redeems the time, right? Because all through the years, I was 33. So my friends have been getting married for years, starting families, all of that. And for those of you listening might be thinking you've missed out or you're missing out or people are ahead of you financially, these different areas. No, I'm here to tell you, no, here's the cool thing. The joke's on us every time when we truly give in to the principles and the truth of what God has in store for us. And so what I mean by that is this, in this context, we didn't go on a honeymoon. We went on a honeymoon circuit. We took 24 vacations in the first 2 years of our marriage. I'm talking week-long, amazing vacations to amazing places. And beyond that, they were actually paid for. And that's a whole other story. But that's how God does things when we're just willing to do our simple, small, little part and think different and do different. Amazing, unprecedented things happen in our marriage, in our business, in our finance, in every area. It's just a break. It's an abundance. I know, Jason, you're excited. We're going to be talking a lot about that today, but it's about abundance. It's about overflow in all areas, not just financially, in all areas, just like you all herald that message so well, and you steer that message through life and what you all do. So that's just a few quick little droplets about For me, we could go on for hours, but baby, a little bit about you as well.
Yeah, well, I grew up very early on with passion in my heart. Just as a child, when I learned to read and write, then all of a sudden, you know, these poems were flying out, and I'm talking like second grade, actually, when I was just writing these long, super deep poems. I've always been a very passionate person and always very passionate about art. And so I, you know, was a writer really once I was able to hold a pencil. And then shortly after that, my mom got me into dance lessons, and I immediately fell in love. I found the love of my life at that time, and that was dance. And so I passionately pursued that all throughout my childhood years up into high school. And I actually became a professional dancer my senior year in high school. I was dancing with a ballet company at the time. And so I was only having to go to school for like 2 or 3 hours in the morning. And then I would go and dance with the other professionals that were, you know, 10 years older than me. And it was really at that point that I understood that I was meant to live out my passions, that I wasn't meant to go punch a clock, to, you know, sit at a desk. That to me was dying 1,000 deaths every single day. And so, you know, becoming a professional dancer, really being able to rehearse and then have my own time. I loved it. And I loved being able to wake up and pursue the passion that was on my heart that day in that moment. And so, you know, fast forward, I continued dancing with different companies, moved to different states, but I also, out of the clear blue, God gave me this passion to begin performing as a vocalist and as a Christian pop R&B group I created with my brother. And we started literally from scratch, created everything, wrote all of our own music, had background dancers, ended up touring nationally for 5.5 years, had multiple nationally released albums. And again, I followed my passion. And you know, I remember just knowing that I couldn't live the life that I saw everyone else live. I had no desire to go to college so that I would get a degree for something that I wasn't even passionate about. I was already living in my passion point, and that meant everything to me. And, you know, different family members, not my immediate family members, but people on the outside, you know, I sometimes would be made to feel badly that I didn't have a college degree. And I just remember thinking, why do I want a college degree? Why would I go to school to learn how to become a professional dancer? That's already what I'm doing. I'm getting paid to do what I love. And, you know, the same thing with music. And so I did whatever it took to be able to pursue my passion. And I remember my oldest brother was, you know, concerned for me at the time because I hadn't met the love of my life yet. And he was like, you know, what if you started a bakery? What if you know, had this business or that business, just so that I would have like financial stability? And I just remember telling him, I am actually living out my dreams and my passion right now, and I'm able to support myself. And I would rather live in a tent in the desert, able to pursue exactly what God has put on my heart than live what everyone else wants me to live. And so then, you know, meeting David, I had waited tables since I was 18. Before that, I had bus tables at restaurants, of course, you know, and I've also had taught a lot of dance, kind of freelance at the collegiate level, at the lower levels, a lot of choreographing, different performances, that kind of thing. So I had done many different things. I was just a hustler to make money so that I could really pursue what I was passionate about. And I had always been intrigued by real estate. My older brother, I have 2 older brothers, and I, who had created the music group together, just had started watching HGTV when that came out. And my mom was always really interested in it, but we didn't know how to basically utilize the vehicle of real estate to become financially free. So then, you know, when God in this whirlwind literally brought me my beyond Prince Charming on the white horse. It was actually a white BMW.
It was a white, yes, it was a white car when I picked her up, yes.
And we still have that car. I have a hard time letting it go because it's so special. But, you know, when he swept me off my feet and he was already financially free, it all made sense to me. And he was exactly how I was. He was just going to live the life to the fullest, to the abundance that God had for him. And he was going to do whatever was necessary, which is exactly what he did as he was preparing for me. And so when we came together, I was so excited to learn all about real estate. And of course, we've been coaching now pretty much since early on in our marriage. And so we are so it burns within us to help people understand that the power of real estate investing so that you can become financially free to really be able to pursue everything that God has on your heart. And the best part is you don't have to be passionate about real estate. You just have to be passionate about what the vehicle can actually do and where it can take you.
So awesome. You guys have awesome stories. It's so cool. It seems like you guys move pretty slow though. 5 days or whatever, that's a long time.
Yeah. On it, all right.
And there we were like, it's been 5 days. I guess we should
the clock is ticking. It's gonna be the weekend soon. I got stuff to do. Do you want to? Yeah, let's do it.
Exactly. I think it was a Friday when we did.
It was Friday night. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Yeah. This is right. So, and Katie Marie, I got to tell you, you didn't know this, but you actually have a lot in common with Peter because Peter toured Europe as a dancer when he was a kid.
That's right. Let's roll.
So when you guys come to the Get a Life Getaway, I completely expect a dance off. And this has to happen.
100% happening. And I actually toured Europe as a teenager. So that's crazy. And we're both from Michigan. Well,
this is I hear the do. Yeah, this is an interesting episode. Okay. Well, and so I want to dive into your stories though. And I'm paraphrasing here, but David, I heard from you that you saw something you didn't want, and then you chose to go a different way. And so that finances were never a constraint on you and you were able to do whatever it was that you chose to do. And Katie Marie, what I heard from you is you started experiencing something and then didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. And so there's a common thread here between both of your stories, but what you didn't touch on, what I'm curious about for both of you is what was it like? Because David, you had people that were on a certain path, your family, your extended family. And so you had to break out of that path and do something different. Katie Marie, you were doing something different than you mentioned. You saw everybody else who's say, I should go to college. I should do all this. I should get a job. I should open a bakery. Talk about what kept you guys on that path moving forward, despite everybody else doing something differently. What was involved in that?
That's a great question. Yeah. And the first thing that comes to me is back to what I said, decision, number one, and determination. Because anybody, people said, I made a decision. Well, you really didn't. To me, time will tell. Everybody talks like I made a decision to get healthier or wealthier or whatever. But really, talk is cheap, right? As we all know. So time will tell who really decided. Because if you just look at people's lives, you can know what they've decided. They've decided to be successful. It didn't happen just, how did I land on top of this mountain? I don't even know how I got to the top of this mountain. How I woke up and I was here. No, it was a decision. It was determination. It was diligence. It was proper planning, a proper path, committed action consistently, all those things. But at the core of it, it's a decision with clarity, deep commitment, that deep why. Severe pain and agony. I experienced firsthand, not only myself personally, but I saw my family members, what they went through, my mom and the marriage and the strain and that, how are we going to pay bill? How am I going to keep a roof on my mom's waiting table, trying to keep food on the table and a roof over our head. And again, this isn't like a poor us story. God has been amazing providing for our family throughout the years and faithful and all of that. But it's life is real, right? And so the tangible elements of just the emotion and not just our family, just stopping and observing most people's lives, they are not living their dreams. That's why they're having to check out of reality through reality shows on TV or substances or whatever it is, because they are not living the life of their dreams, nowhere near it. Most people aren't. And so, as you all know, that's why we love Life in Here and what you guys do, because it's so needed. So, but to answer your question, that's a great question, because she found her passion and just pursued it. I had no idea what my passion was going to be in the real world. I was passionate about sports. I played college baseball at Indiana University. So I knew I was passionate about God and about baseball, but I didn't play beyond college. And so in the real world, like, what was my passion? So to your question, Jason, like that, I love you brought that out. I've never even thought about that way, how our paths, like she found her passion of dance and music early on and she continues to live out those professionally and do those things. And then it's turned into other things, speaking and author and all the things. But for me, my passion, was baseball. Now, when I got out of college, I did instruct and all that. But I think what it was my passion became financial freedom. I didn't know what my passion in a practical sense tangibly was going to be that it is now. Like we teach and coach people and run our multiple businesses that we have. Like we're very clear on what our passions are now in a tangible way with our companies and with the people we help and how we do it and all of that. But I had no idea if any of that was going to come early on. I just knew I was passionate to have freedom to live life full time. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I didn't know what context, what vehicle, what industry. I had no idea of those things, but I was clear on that determined destination and that determined. So that really, anything that aligned with that, like you talk about, Jason, aligning with the vision that you've set, anything that aligned with that, when I saw real estate, it was a perfect, right? The residual. So it aligned with that.
Yeah.
So is that still, I'm sorry, go ahead, Katie.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, and so David, is this what Katie Marie said before? Like, she's like, I think you said something along the lines like, you weren't necessarily passionate about real estate in and of itself, but what it could do for you and what it would allow. Totally. Is that true? Like, so for you, like you mentioned the freedom. So it's like, hey, here's something that maybe, and do you feel passionate about real estate, or is it still like what it produces for you? Like, do you love the vehicle, or do you love where the vehicle brings you?
It's a little of both, but it's more of where it takes you. Yeah. Our passion is about what it gives people. It's about, our passion is life. Our passion is life more abundantly. Yeah. Our passion is how the life that God created that's available for everyone, that most people aren't living anywhere near in the promised land of what's available. So that's our passion. Now, it's like we say this, your car out in your garage, like it's cool. We like it. Like it's a dream car and all that, but that's not, But that's not what we're most passionate about. We're not passionate. I know some people are very passionate about the vehicle itself. And they want to get in there and tinker with it and do all that. But we're more passionate about the car is going to take our family to the beach. We're more passionate about that experience it's going to take us to. We're more passionate about where that car is going to take us and the places we can go and the conversation we can have in it. Now, yes, we do enjoy it. We're passionate about picking, having our dream car and all that, but that pales in comparison to the passion of the places that it takes us, the people we're allowed to meet, where it takes us to meet people, all those things. So that's how we view real estate. Is like, are we passionate about like picking out paint colors and laying floors and doing everything, not the tangible elements of real estate, like in that way, but we're definitely passionate about real estate for what it is and what it can do for people in providing life, total abundant life in the places it can take people.
And that analogy of, the car in the garage, imagine we have like a Ferrari. Those are super fun cars. I really love cars. I was raised with two older brothers. I would love to take a Ferrari like on a track and just have so much fun with it. So, you imagine like our perspective of real estate is a Ferrari is a super sweet car, and it would be really fun just to sit in it and kind of, look at everything. And so, but where we can go, how fast we can get where we want to go is the parallel there with real estate. And so it's fun to, be involved in it and to get to experience different elements of it. But the greatest element of it is really where it's going to take us. And just to answer your question about, growing up, where that came from, that I found the path that I did. I was born to two elementary school teachers. And so they worked their buns off all throughout the school year, absolutely incredible teachers. And then as soon as the school year ended, we jumped in our motorhome and we were literally gone for 3 months and traveled all over the country, just got to have amazing experiences. And my parents didn't make a ton of money, by any stretch. Like, I feel like school teachers don't get paid nearly what they should, but they chose that line of work because they, number one, wanted to feed and really help raise the next generation. But most of all, they wanted that time freedom with us, with their 3 children. And so I think that's really what showed me early on how amazing it was to get to have my parents for those 3 months. And I wish that I could have them more. And, my mom had to have someone watch us when they were both teaching. And I remember, missing her, and I didn't want to be where I was, even as a little girl. But that really shaped me, understanding, that parents could be home with their children. And then also my mom especially has always really been a visionary, and my parents have both just been huge supporters of my dreams and what I was passionate about. They always did whatever they could to help support me in my dance career. And then in my music career, they actually came on tour with us. Every one of our tours, our mom and dad were actually with us, and they were involved in what we were doing. And the thing is, I think it was really my mom who said, you don't have to go to college. And even my dad, if you're passionate about this other thing, then pursue that, because they didn't want to see us kind of in the trap that they had found themselves in. And actually my 2 older brothers were going to go to school to become teachers. And I remember vividly, my parents sat them down and said, you might really want to reconsider that for multiple reasons. Going into the education field, you might want to go a different direction, because it's just not all that we had hoped that it would be. And so I think as the youngest child, both of my brothers went to college, basically almost until graduation. Neither of them got degrees. I went for 1 year, but that's a whole other story. That was to build a dance program. And so I think just with the 3rd child, it was like, hey, let's let her go and do what she really wants to do. And they saw that I was determined, that I had intrinsic motivation, which is huge. Nobody ever had to motivate me. Still, nobody has to motivate me to go to the gym. I was literally 40 weeks pregnant and 4 days going to the gym 6 days a week. Like 15 minutes after I got home from the gym, I went into labor 40 weeks and 4 days and had him the next day.
You're just making me and Vojo look really bad, especially Vojo. I mean, look at him. You're making him look bad. He's complaining about his shoulder right now that he's going.
Swimming can really help. Dance can help your shoulder too.
Well, I'll consider that. Yeah.
Good point. There we go. Bring on the dancing. So the lower extremities are working, right, Vojo? All right.
That's it. Do what you can do. So so it sounds like you guys had a pretty strong resolve to it doesn't sound like you flailed a lot or struggled with fear or doubt, or is that true? You did have those struggles?
Not really. I mean, we were hungry. I think.
Yeah, like it was the hunger outweighed anything that kind of like distraction or doubt or
fear, and those things been present along the way. Absolutely, 100% of humanity. We're emotional beings, and so. But I think the difference is, like you said, Jason. I love that you're highlighting this, because this is huge. If people just know, like which hunger is going to win out, right? It's kind of like the story. A lot of people talk about the 2 dogs, right, inside of you. Which dog are you feeding? Because that's the one that's going to win the fight. Is it the dog of your dreams that's hungry for your dreams and you're going to do whatever it takes, and tenacity and commitment and resolve and consistency? Or is it the dog of fear that's going to keep you paralyzed, living a limited life, or fear, excuses, excuse-itis, the real pandemic's going on, excuse-itis and all these other things. But so, when you have the strong enough desire for what you want, then it's going to overcome whatever doubts and fears and insecurities and things along the way that are already there, or that do pop up along the way. Because 100% chance, yes, they're going to pop up, or they're already there for all of us. Because if we look at ourselves, we're going to see inadequacies, insecurities, lack of whatever ability to accomplish this grand vision. But that's not the focal point. It's redirecting that mindset of how can I and who can help me. So when we're asking ourselves that question, who can help me with this? Who do I need to connect to? Who do I need to get close to? How can I learn what I need to learn to go to where I want to go? Then it's not us sitting back. That's why, Katie Marie talks often about action. Just take action crushes fear oftentimes, because the more we sit and think about or anticipate, we all know this, we've all experienced it. Anticipation is terrible. Like we have, it's like anticipating in sales, making that cold call or whatever it is. Like the thought of it, the anticipation of it is like, oh, we build these things up. Instead, if we just put ourselves in motion and in action and go in the right direction, like, it's just amazing. Like, wow, I built all this up. There's like false giants in the land, right? The promised land is like fate. We build all these huge giants up and huge excuses why we can't go do something instead of just do. We'll learn as we go. And so for us, we're doers, we're action takers. We're driven and we're ambitious and all of that. But it's kind of like, we were lied to in a lot of ways growing up. I mean, like the saying, practice makes perfect. That's not true. Practice can make you terrible. Yeah. It can make you worse than you are right now if you're practicing wrong, right? And so it's like right practice is what makes. And so it's all practice makes right, perfect. Exactly. And so it's those kind of things when it comes, of course, all the mindset stuff, which I would love to talk about if we have time today. What you and I were talking about the other day about the abundance mentality, and even people that people think are successful, they make a lot of money. They actually still have more of a lack mentality and a scarcity mentality and a fear of competition or a fear of losing customers or a fear of somebody else coming in and taking than they do of freedom through an abundance mentality. And so it's really always starts with a mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so, go ahead, Peter.
I mean, that's huge because a lot of people don't look at it that way, right? I mean, one of the things that you said at the beginning of this podcast that kind of resonated with me is like you said, you're one decision away from living the life that what's the word that you use? That's unnecessary, right? For you to live that. And I think for a lot of people, they're starting to ask like, what do you mean by that? Like how one decision away and it's unnecessary. It's easy for you to say, right? So I think a lot of that has to do with the mindset. So the abundance, give us like maybe in a couple of few sentences, what does abundance mindset really mean to you?
Well, I think understanding that anything and everything that God has for you, you specifically, will not be taken from you. It can't be robbed from you. If he's promised you something, then he's going to give it to you. And, in my devotional book, he had given me something to share called the vault of his hand. And he had just really been speaking to me and showing me that all of the opportunities, all of the gifts that he's given me are right in the palm of his hand. And he is so much greater. He's so much larger. He's untouchable by human hands. And so the mentality of lack and poverty and scarcity, it really are not at all of God. Like you look anywhere in the Bible, you won't find it anywhere. You'll find about how in John 10:10, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but God has come that we may have the abundant life to the fullest. And so just understanding that you can be great, Peter. Jason,
I am great.
You are, exactly. You are. You're made in the image of God.
I live in my own land, in my own head. So.
But it's true. And so we're all made in the image of God. We're all unique. We all have unique giftings. Even one dancer to another is completely different. One entrepreneur to another is completely different. And so understanding really the abundance mentality is understanding, number one, that anything and everything that is for you will not be taken by someone else. You have that trust. And also, there's room for all of us to be great, to be exactly who God made us to be, and to not try to compete with each other. I could never be David, I can't be him as much as I could try to, achieve what he's achieved. We all have a different story. And so us really rocking who we are, the way that God made us, celebrating who we are, allows us to have that abundance mentality because we're not thinking of ourselves anymore. Insecurity is all about us looking inward. Oh, I don't feel like I measure up, or, you know, I feel like, oh, he speaks so well, or something like that. That's really focused on inward thinking, oh, I'm not enough. But understanding who we are and whose we are allows us to take all of the focus off of ourselves so that we can, number one, be focused on God. Number two, be focused on the passions that he's given us. And number three, to be focused on all of the people that we're meant to bless through our unique lives.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's so powerful, baby. Thank you. Yeah. And one other thing I'd say about that, great question, Peter, is just a difference between looking at life through a lens of limitations versus through a lens of limitlessness. Like, we know that there's no, like, it's limitless. The life that God has created, like limitless opportunities, limitless resources, limitless. And someone say, oh no, there's limited, and they would debate it and argue there are limited resources in there. No, God is a limitless God, and he's created us in his image, and he put us in this life. And so, like, a lot of the people that we know are living the life of, you know, and people say, oh, wow, that's amazing. You're living, you know, the life of your dreams. And it's like, well, it's actually no, like, yes and no. We're living the life of things that we dreamed in the past, but we have new dreams, always evolving, expanding, always we're moving. And so it's really, we live a life of beyond our dreams, really. So because the life we experience right now in our health, relationships, finances, and our businesses and our marriage, and it's beyond what we dreamed. Right. Even though we're big dreamers, like, God looks at our dreams and says, oh, that's cute, and kind of chuckles. And he's like, now I'm going to blow you away with exceedingly abundantly above everything you've ever asked for, think for, imagined for. It's all in the book, the greatest success book of all time. It says it right there. And that's what happens. And so, but we choose our personal perspective. And one of the things we say often is that your personal perspective is either postponing you, paralyzing you, or propelling you. Your personal perspective, which you get to choose every day. You get to choose your attitude and your effort. You get to choose. It doesn't matter what situation, scenario you're going through. Because I feel like people listening to this, some people are going to say, oh, that all sounds great for you guys and what you're talking about, but you don't know my situation. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what I've been through. Well, we don't need to know. Now, God knows. But the awesome thing about his principles is that they perform themselves perfectly, perpetually, all day, every day, for every person who positions themselves properly into alignment with what the truth is. That's why the truth makes every person free and abundant, who simply gets humble enough and hungry enough to receive it and live it and act in it. And so it's not, because God's not no respecter of persons. And so we choose our perspective. But oftentimes it's easy for us, and we've all been there, to slip into the woe is me, the whiny baby adult. We're big in adult bodies, but we're really whiny babies oftentimes, right? Because it's like, man, I've got it so tough. Well, compared to what? Because it's relative. When I think I'm having my hardest day, when my dad took his life, yeah, that was in my life, that was one of the biggest tsunamis, crazy, crushing things. But you know what? I chose to be thankful. I chose to thank God. I chose to seek God. I chose a positive perspective in my mind. And that made all the difference, not only in the moment, in the day, but throughout the rest of my life, where what was meant to destroy me and my family actually propelled us. Again, perspective will propel. It'll paralyze you, postpone you, and delay you from your destiny and your dreams and passions, or it will literally propel you. And that's what happened. When my dad took his life, it propelled, literally, it launched our whole family into these new realms we had never even experienced of abundance, and spiritually and naturally. It's just, so there's so much to these stories. But the point I want to share to your question that is so powerful about that, Peter, is that it's a choice of perspective. That to me is what it is. And it's not one time, it's daily. When we wake up each day, do we bathe one time? Do we brush our teeth one time? No, it's daily. So we need to be choosing the proper perspective daily. Or some days, is it easier said than done than others? Yeah. But if we just choose when Dad says like, oh, woe is me, I've got it hard. Hey, what about the guy that talks all over the world, inspiring people with no arms and no legs? What about the people suffering in the hospital today? You're not there. Now you're going through stuff. We all are. But that personal perspective for us, no matter what, like when she birthed him, Within moments, he couldn't breathe, turned blue. He was choking, he was suffocating. Gabriel was, because he couldn't breathe because meconium. And so 911 rushed to the hospital. He's there for 7 days, severe sleep deprivation. We didn't sleep for days and all this stuff. We could say, we can get focused and wallow around and go in a negative path in our mind. Or we can say, no, thank you, Lord, for this day. We're gonna focus on whatever positive we can find and think about. And so that there's so much. You all have such great questions, man. It's like hours of conversation just on each question. But dude, the choice of the lens of limitless life. It's limitless. You don't know my situation. You don't know. It doesn't matter your situation. It's irrelevant to what you can do moving forward from today if you choose a different, new, and better perspective.
That's right.
Dude, that's amazing. By the way, David, I'm surprised you're not a preacher, man. Like you're like in there with the alliteration. That's what I was just
gonna say.
Like, yeah,
preach it, man.
That's it. That's it. Awesome. And Katie, Katie Marie, you're right there too. And so, tell me, and I know, I apologize. I don't want to take more of your time than I promised, but I just one other thing I want to kind of hint here about is what was it in your life that kind of. It sounds like there was a focus from you two and your passions and your joy and your freedom and all the things you wanted to accomplish to now helping other people and seeing it in their lives. What was that change like for you? Was that always there? Or did you reach a certain level of success and joy and fulfillment? And then you're like, now I'm ready to share it. And I want our listeners to hear your answer, because like, I'm wondering, is this something that you think everybody ultimately needs to get to? Like, is this most people's path where it's not all about us and it's about helping other people? What was that experience like for you guys?
Well, the thing is, when you find something that impacts your life, even to a small degree, it's really naturally our human nature is to want to share it.
Yeah.
We have the most amazing fruit trees here in Florida, and year round we have different fruit trees that are in season. And in the summer we have mangoes, and they're the most divine mangoes you've ever had. You've never had a mango until you had one like from Costa Rica or Florida. They're actually like this bright orange. And when I taste one, even something as simple as a piece of fruit, I want David to experience it. And now Gabriel is getting to experience the whole wide world of beautiful foods. I want him to be able to experience it. And so if something as small as a flavorful experience I want to share, how much more do I want to share a new mentality that I've just come across, or, a new, dietary lifestyle that I've come across that's really helping me, or, something as simple as dry brushing has been really transformational for my health and David's, and we share it. Now, when it comes to any level of success, it was never enough for either of us individually or together for us to just keep it at that. Yay, that's so amazing that we have found financial freedom, or that, we've reached the place that we want to be in our health. No, it's never enough for us. We want to bring people with us. That's the whole point of all of it. And even, when you take it to the gospel, spreading the good news of Jesus, we were never meant to, well, that's amazing, I'm saved, and I'm gonna be able to be with God for the rest of my life. It's not enough. Like we need to share it. Like we should have a deep desire to share it. And that's what the entire gospel, word of mouth, was meant to be. And so I think it really is just a God given desire for each of us. Especially, we have to have that abundance mentality. That's the thing. We have to have those two together. We have to have something that's worthy of sharing, but we also have to have the mentality that allows us to have that wide open gate where we can share what we've learned. Because if you think about it, real estate is, God only made one earth, and there's no more like divisions of earth that are being created. He owns all of the real estate, and it's a finite resource. So you may think, well, man, we don't want to tell other people about, how to invest in real estate because there's only a certain amount of, multifamily, there's a certain amount of single family. There's only, there's not enough for everyone to be able to invest in real estate. But the thing is, when you have abundance mentality, you know that your needs are always met. Like Matthew 6, I was just reading it, talks all about how he takes care of the birds that don't do anything. They don't even really toil. He feeds them, and the flowers are more beautiful than even Solomon in all of his glory. How much more is your God going to take care of all of your needs? So when you have that deep understanding and you really lean on the promises that we have more than enough, then we're able to give of our success and to be able to show people the things that we've learned, because we can't all possibly live long enough to make all the mistakes that there are to make. So how much greater to be able to learn from the mistakes of others. And the same thing with success. That's the gift of being able to bring other people with you, is it's like they've been on the journey with you all along without having to go through everything that you've been through to get where you are.
Baby, that's so powerful. A couple of things I would add to that is, I mean, like you're saying, we're the most like guide when we give.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so if people just get still and quiet and get alone with yourself and look inward, stop looking outward everywhere, what people are saying, who you are and who you're not, and what you need to do, what you need to be, all that, just get alone. Think about it. This is one of the greatest things to do in life, and hardly nobody does it. We need to do it more too, but get it alone. See how long you can just sit still and quiet in a room by yourself. Just get alone, still and quiet, and listen. Just listen. You'll be amazed at what wisdom comes. Why? Because we're meant to be conduits, receivers of wisdom, the infinite intelligence that God has. But if receivers are clogged up, the frequencies and the radio waves and the TV waves, they can be flying all day, every day. It doesn't matter. This receiver is not going to get anything. And so that's how you are. You're meant to be a receiver of the infinite intelligence. But if we don't stop, if we don't clear our mind, clear our heart, sit still long enough and consistent enough, we're missing everything. What are we missing? Something? No, we are missing everything. The person we could be, should be, would be, all the people that we would help, could help, should help. None of that's happening because, or very droplets of it. So because we're not doing, we think it's through doing. No, it's through being. Just look at the tree. It's not breaking a sweat, and it's producing abundance all day, every day, multiplying. So we need to learn to sit, stop. We need to start stopping. And we need to stop running around everywhere and trying to do all this stuff and just sit and receive. So that's being a conduit, right? And so one word is choice. I mean, that's the thing. What if we boiled it all down, whether it's choosing to have an abundance mentality or lack mentality, choose to live your dreams or not, whatever we could talk about, to me, we could boil it down to choice. Choosing to follow God and seek him, or live your own life and you be the captain of your ship. Well, how's that working out for us? You know what I mean? Like in our health, relationships, finances, are we overflowing with joy and peace and fulfillment and passion and can't wait to get out of bed every day because life is so amazing, it's heaven on earth? Well, that's what's available to us. But if not, then something's off with me, the man in the mirror, and what am I missing? And so it's a matter of choice, and it's a matter to choose to be a conduit. Like Katie Marie was saying, a conduit chooses to be a vessel, to share, to get good at receiving and good at giving. A lot of people are good at giving and they're terrible at receiving. I mean, a lot of Christian people, they are good givers and they are terrible receivers. Very, very, it's a false sense of humility, which is a form of pride. If someone walks up and writes you a big check or tries to give you this or that, and you're like, oh no, I'll take care of it. Oh no. And you say no, or you don't receive openly, excitedly all the time, abundantly when people offer, then you have some issues there. I did, but I saw that years ago. I was like, wow, I will never do that again. I will receive everything, no matter what size, from anybody, because if not, we are damming up the flow of abundance. When we say no, someone offers to do this or pay for our dinner or do this, it's like, oh no, I got that. Oh no, I don't need that. Well, okay, we're damming up the flow. So we need to choose to be a conduit. And then to answer your question Jason, or what you were saying about that, to me, it's the natural progression in the book of life, the greatest success book of all time. It says, of all the amazing things it says and all the amazing things that God boiled it down to one thing, it says, the greatest in the kingdom will be those who learn these principles and live it in their own life and teach them. So to your point, Jason, like if all we're doing is learning it so we can live our amazing life of dreams and but we're not turning around and teaching what we've learned to help anybody else that wants to know, like that's not that's a complete damming up of the flow, and we're not being conduits. And so we say it this way: learn it, live it, lead it. Learn it, live it, lead it. So, and not like trying to do that, but just let it flow. Like, be hungry to learn, be a child. Who is the greatest student who ever lived? Jesus. Everybody talks about he was the greatest teacher. Well, the people got the cart before the horse. No, he was the greatest student who ever lived. Therefore, the reason he became the greatest teacher of all ever is because he chose to be the greatest student ever. So that's, to us, life summed up right there in business. Like it's all right there for us. And most people, I'm talking about multimillionaires. We've been around billionaires, multimillionaires, and most people, and you know this, Jason, we were talking about this the other day. The majority of them still suffer, whether they know it or not, consciously or not, to a degree, with lack mentality. Oh, I don't know, like I'm going to be in my silo, in my bubble, our company, our brand, our customers. Are those your people? No, they're God's people. So here's the thing. If you're scared of losing customers to some other competitor, we don't see competition. We see collaboration possibilities and limitless, because no one can do who we are and rock who we are and what we're called to do like us. We're always going to be the best in the world at it, just like you're always going to be the best in the world at whatever it is. So let's stop that and realize we don't even need, like, who are you going to compare yourself to when nobody else is even meant to be you or couldn't? If they're trying to, they're wasting your time, and you should tell them. Right. And so that's the thing, man. It's the greatest addiction of all time to learn it, live it, lead it, the truth in these matters. Man, you all get us wound up and excited.
Yeah, dude.
Are you sure
awesome.
about that?
Hey, this is us awesome. Being calm. Just so you all know, this is us dialed down to like level 2, so we can actually get the message out here. Bring it on.
We're excited. Run around the house.
Oh, this is awesome. Katie Marie and David, you guys are absolutely awesome. I love what you're doing. Love your message. Love your passion. We've had David, we have the chance to connect on many, many occasions here recently, and I'm sure it'll be more in the future. How do people find out more about you guys, about Love Co, about Simplified Investing, like what you guys are up to and the people you're helping?
Thank you. Yes. And thanks for having us on your platform. We're so excited to just let the world know about you guys and Life in There. It's amazing. So thank you for all of that. But yeah, www.loveco.live, LOVECO.LIVE. One of our main companies there. You can find out what all's going on there and what that can mean for you, your family, your dreams, and all of that, as well as www.simplifiedinvesting.net. That's our other main company where we educate people, coach them on leveraging real estate in some powerful ways, and all of that. We have a free community. Definitely become a part of www.kingdomwealththroughrealestate.com. Powerful things happening there. And Life with Katie Marie on Instagram is amazing things happening there. Life with Katie Marie is her Instagram handle. Anything else I missed?
We've got lots going on.
Yeah, those are the main. We've got a couple of other things, but if they check that out, you can connect with us. We'd love to connect with you all and help in any way we can.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time and joining us in the Life in There show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Dude, they are incredible, right? What an awesome couple. I really, really enjoyed this episode, man. Like, they had some really, not only are they so contagiously passionate, but they had some awesome points, I think, that everybody can learn from. Like, that first thing I really love, dude, is the power of perspective, right? Like, what a difference that can make. I mean, in every area.
Yeah. And if you look at his particular story, there was some stuff that happened in his life, like his dad, our perspective, and makes a huge difference how you go about life and how you look at life and what comes to you, right? It's a really, really powerful way of looking at it. The other aspect that I love how he was talking about is the abundance mindset. Like, there is no competition. There is no... I love that, because think about it this way. I share this with students and stages and 3-day Gear Life giveaways. There's only one of you, right? Yeah. Nobody can replicate that. Stop looking of what people will take away from you and all that kind of stuff. And I think Katie Marie said at one point, she mentioned that what God has given for you, nobody can take that away from you. What he has in store for you, nobody can take that away. Think about that for a second.
Yeah. What a sense of peace, right?
right?
Yeah. What a sense of peace and comfort. Now, with that, I think it's always like, to that point in particular, that gives you a sense of peace that nobody can take it, but it also probably maybe even entices you to go get it. Like if you know there are things promised for you, like what are you waiting for? It's like having a Christmas gift under the tree and that's you're waiting to unwrap. Like, let's see what's in store for you. Let's see what's waiting. That was really, really cool.
Yeah. The other thing that I love towards the end when he was talking about being the conduit and receiving, right? Being able to sit there and listen, that the messages are out there. God is pouring out into us, or whatever it might be, but it's the conduit, us right here. Are we a receiver? Is our receiver broken, or is our receiver, operating to receive the messages? And I think that's so important, when we talk about meditating or sitting there or being the word or whatever it might be, so you can be that conduit, not just talking, but listening.
Well, along those lines, man, there's, like you kind of mentioned, there's a couple different versions of receiving. One is being quiet and listening to what you should do, what things are waiting for you, what purposes, God has for you. But also he mentioned particularly as well, receiving gifts and receiving things from other people, like, whether they're going to give, hey, here's a check for whatever. Like, and some people let their pride and their ego get in the way of accepting gifts. And I think there's really a corollary there. Like if you have a hard time receiving gifts, you may also have a hard time receiving those same gifts as it comes to like the downloads that come from ideas and things that are planned for you. So there might be a correlation there. I'd encourage you to look at that if you find yourself being that way. And I think maybe, you don't want to feel that you, I don't know, that you're needy, but you're, like you said, you're clogging up the vessel. You're damming the vessel. Like, you're building a dam in the flow.
Right. I totally believe that. I used to be one of those people who would say, no, thanks, I got it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, totally.
I want you. Yeah. I would constantly do that. And I'm like, why? I think one of my coaches back in the day said that to me, you're robbing that person from giving you that gift.
Yeah.
And that has shifted my perspective on how I go about life. And as far as the listening thing, I would encourage you, it's not just about listening in that moment when you are, quote unquote, sitting still or meditating or whatever, but listening throughout the entire day. All day, having that ear open for life or what brings you, whether it's for other people, messages, whatever, because it's constant communication, constant conversation.
Well, yeah. So two things. One is, Peter, I will gratefully receive that steak dinner you're gonna buy me, and so I will accept that gift from you.
I will say that's not in my vision.
But two, the last thing I wanted to say about this episode is I love that he said, like, it's the decision. You're one decision away. Dude, that's awesome. That is so cool. Awesome. And it's so true because, like, that one decision could be the pebble being dropped into the pond. And then that one decision can change everything and create ripples in every single part of your life. And so it's just so true. Like, and I think we tend to we talk about this a lot at the Get a Life Getaway. Like, you're looking at the top of the mountain, and you don't have to look at the top of the mountain as you're climbing the mountain. You just need to take one step. That's your decision to go one step further and eventually get to the peak. And so that's super powerful as well. Let's break it down into bite-sized chunks and move. Take that one action, that one decision that will move us in that direction.
Right. And if you think about it in that analogy of a mountain, that first step to start climbing it, that's the decision that's going to make you get up there. Because if you don't take that step, you're not going to ever get there. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Awesome episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is definitely one of the ones I'd probably recommend going through again because there's so much stuff in here. So much stuff. So hope you enjoyed it. Again, David and Katie Marie are awesome. So, you'll probably be hearing from them again. Hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed doing it. If you did, I want to please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next week, everyone. Be blessed. Take care. And I hope to see you at a Get a Life Getaway or Business Builder Workshop soon and be part of your journey and make that decision to join us. And you will be on your path as well. Take care, everyone.